Thank you so much. So the first session, the topic is a very interesting one. As you already know, we are talking about how UK and India can aim for future fintech collaboration and regulatory alignment post the India-UK Free Trade Agreement. While I call the speakers and moderators on stage, I request you to please join me and let's give a huge round of applause. So let's begin the sessions, inviting Miss Paroma Chatterjee, CEO, Revolut India. Mr. Amit Hooja, founder and CEO, Paysecure Technology. Mr. S.K. Sarogi, Vice APAC, Head of Expansion. Miss Tracy Brabin, West Yorkshire Combined Authority. Miss Janine Hirt, Innovate Finance CEO. And to moderate this, I would like to invite Mr. Chandru Iyer, HM Deputy Trade Commissioner, HMG. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say a few words first from there, and then let's do the panel. Excellent. Morning, everyone. Absolutely delighted to be here today. And it's just been a phenomenal 24 hours since yesterday. Extremely proud and delighted that we have one of the biggest ever trade delegation from the UK to have ever gone anywhere in the world. So give it up for that. Led by our amazing Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, and just the way India has been welcoming to him, his ministers from the cabinet and the entire delegation. Really, really thankful to everyone in India, right from PM Modi onwards, for making this visit extremely special for all of us. And it's special because there's a lot of special things that have been happening over the last, should I say, few years, but more importantly, over the last few months. I just go back to November 24 when the two prime ministers met at Rio on the sidelines of the G20 summit. And I think something like the discussion went like, I think we've had enough of the talking, let's just go ahead and do it. And that kickstarted for us here as the Deputy Trade Commissioner and the Deputy High Commissioner. We had so much of action happening on the corridor. So I'm not giving you a timeline account, but I'm just saying how things work. So we had in February, we had 3 UK ministers coming to India. We had Ed Miliband coming into Delhi. We had our Secretary of State at that time, Johnny Reynolds. He came to Delhi and Mumbai. And we had Minister of Investment at that time, Poppy Gustafsson. So she was with us in Bombay and Bangalore. So we had that commitment from the UK side. Notwithstanding that, from the Indian side, we had Minister Jaishankar coming to Delhi coming to London for the very first time. An Indian foreign minister spent a week in the UK. And we did some amazing stuff. India opened up consul generals in Manchester and Belfast. And then, of course, we had Minister Jairam and Nirmala Sitharaman coming in April for the Economic and Financial Dialogue. And then, of course, Minister Piyush Goyal came in April. So it was a steady flow of ministers on either side. And as I've heard from Minister Piyush Goyal himself, that finally the two commerce ministers and so our Secretary of State for International Trade, Johnny Reynolds at that time, and Minister Piyush Goyal finally got together on a walk by the Hyde Park. They were eating a vegan chocolate ice cream when they decided, yes, the deal is done. And that's how a free trade agreement between India and the UK happened, in the sidelines of the Hyde Park, eating chocolate ice cream. And it's been such an amazing deal, a deal that's going to add 25 billion pounds to the bilateral trade between the two countries. It's going to add 5 billion into the GDP of the United Kingdom. And I'm sure it's going to have similar kind of effect on the Indian side. It's going to put 2 billion pounds more into the pockets of our wonderful residents of the United Kingdom who contribute significantly to the various sectors, including the fintech sector, and likewise going to be the same on the Indian side as well. And of course, the two prime ministers met in July. when the deal was actually done, and we had announcements almost worth £6 billion, generating jobs on both the sides. So it's just been an amazing, should I say, 8-9 months. But as the dialogue goes in the Bollywood world, picture abhi baki hai mere dost. So the picture is this: that how do we deliver on all that has been agreed between the two countries in terms of the trade deal? And I very strongly feel, as someone who's based in Bangalore, that technology and fintech is going to be at the very core of achieving those big numbers, those big targets that we're talking about. So I'm not a fintech expert, so I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties of it, but we got some wonderful experts with me who are going to be talking to us about what makes India an amazing destination for British fintech businesses to come and do business here, but also at the same time, why all of you should be considering UK as the best place, the only place to expand your business and make it a really, really global business. So without much ado, I'm going to kickstart the panel discussion. Thank you for being here, and I'm really keen to keep it very, very interactive, so please keep your questions coming in. We'll have enough time for questions. But yeah, being the moderator, I've got the prerogative to ask some really tough questions to begin with. So without much ado, I'm going to kickstart the panel discussion. Thank you. Without a doubt. Excellent. So let's kickstart this. Should we go with Paroma to begin with? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Fire away.
Revolut India.
Yes.
Big story of the last 3 years.
Yes. And apparently the biggest story from GFF yesterday.
Okay. We'll wait to hear more on that. For Revolut, what's the importance of the Indian market? And why you're here? And what are your plans for the future?
Why am I here? Because you called me?
Yeah. Why is Revolut here in India? That's the question. Yes.
Okay. After that lighter note, coming to what you actually asked, I will take you back a few years to 2021. Revolut was all of 5 years old in the UK, was valued at $5 billion, and it had close to 20 million customers across the UK and Europe. And then, as we all know, the famous big C, COVID, hit, which affected all financial services businesses, including Revolut. Then Revolut had to step back and think, if we have to recover after this entire COVID setback, what has to be our strategy to make this into the ambitious behemoth that Revolut wanted to become? And the answer lay in expansion. Expanding the borders beyond UK and Europe to other frontiers in the world. And when you think that, literally the first country's name that crops up for a British company is India. It was actually a no-brainer at that point of time. At least that's what I was sold when I was asked to step in as CEO and run this expansion charter over here. Now, the reasons why India appears to be attractive, sorry, if that's interrupting with the mic, you can keep that somewhere else there. Here you go. Yeah, the reason why India is attractive was three things. One is obviously the scale. And here I'm not talking about the entire 1.6 billion population, but even the top 200, 250 million Indians, global Indians, who have ties with the UK, who have friends and family living in the UK, who travel to UK for tourism or for business. So it was a very vibrant potential corridor, and therefore it was the first reason driving that no-brainer decision that the number of people at scale that this British company could tap into could come only if we entered India. The second aspect that was attractive from our lens was the entire digital public infrastructure of India. Because while in the UK, we were leveraging UK's open banking architecture as Revolut, in India, the entire identity stack, the entire verification stack, the entire account aggregator framework, and of course the payment rails of UPI, which was looking at internationalizing, Revolut thought that this is very strong tech stack that if Revolut as a British company were able to leverage overall to be able to deliver services even beyond India to Europe and the other countries that Revolut was already present in, it would make Revolut a super powerful technology company of the UK. That was the second reason. And the third reason was they found me.
Yeah, that's a very compelling reason, isn't it? Thank you, Paroma. So we've just heard why, or what are the main reasons for a British business like Revolut to look at India. I'm going to go to Janine next. A lot of wonderful Indian fintech businesses in the room.
Come to the UK.
Why should they come to the UK?
Because we've got the best fintech ecosystem in the whole world, although India has a pretty good one on par with that.
Yes.
Listen, the UK is a global hub for fintech, and there's a few reasons for that. In terms of investment, for the last 10 years, we've been second in the world, only behind the United States. We generally receive more investment than almost all of Europe combined. We also have the best entrepreneurs and the innovators in the whole world that are driving that. In addition, we have an incredibly supportive government, and I have to say it's been such an honor to be part of the delegation. As you mentioned, there's so much energy, there's so much excitement about that. And this government in particular has a real appetite to help drive forward the innovation agenda, the digitization agenda, and support fintech more broadly. We also have very proactive regulators in the UK, and we're seeing even a step up in that in terms of the leads reforms as well. And we also have great talent, and that's another opportunity for us to look at the engagement between India and the UK in particular. But it is the place to be if you're looking to scale your business and grow your business, and you'll find that supportive environment in the United Kingdom.
Excellent. And can I have a follow-up quick question on that? So what can Innovate Finance do to help businesses like here in this room in terms of the support that you can give?
Absolutely. So Innovate Finance is the industry body for UK fintech. We were set up 10 years ago off the back of a government consultation, but we were set up completely independently so that we could support and advocate and lobby on behalf of the sector. And ultimately, we are the center point for all things fintech in the UK. So we represent the fintechs from your earliest stage companies through to your highest growth companies. We run something called the Unicorn Council for UK fintech, which is the CEOs of those unicorns in the United Kingdom. And we bring together the whole community, connect them up into investors, into potential partners, including many of your large institutions that are here today, like Citi, JPM, et cetera. And we also connect them directly into the regulators and to government as well. And we work closely with the City of London, who is here in addition to help support the whole community.
Thank you, Janine. Yeah, so we have the chair of the Policy and Research Committee of the City of London Corporation, the Square Mile, where I began my career in the UK. And it's quite interesting, just a few seconds to talk about it. We could almost see the advent of the fintech happening in front of our eyes, where the Square Mile kind of merged with the tech ecosystem. So it was like, you know, the Liverpool Street merging with Old Street, and the tech and the financial ecosystem coming together. And at the cusp of that is where all the big boys of the fintech are today. So it's almost like very, should I say, it kind of reflects how the fintech sector has evolved in the City of London. But London is not the only place to do fintech in the UK. We have other options as well, and some really, really good options. And extremely delighted to have Mayor Tracy Brabin with us today. And so, Mayor, why should an Indian fintech business, an upcoming business here, not go to London and come to Leeds?
Well, good morning, everybody, and what an absolute privilege and delight to be here. I'm Tracy Brabin, the Mayor of West Yorkshire, 2.4 million people, 7 universities, hundreds of thousands of businesses, and particularly in Leeds, we are the Northern Square Mile. Now, we're not in competition with the City of London, but I do believe we're the sort of disruptor, funky younger sister to the Square Mile. And it was very interesting that the Chancellor chose to come to Leeds to launch the Leeds reform when it came to financial and professional services. Look, in Leeds, it's a beautiful city. It's a great quality of life right in the heart of the UK. But what's also magnetic about Leeds is that it's the Bank of England is there and they're expanding. The Wealth Fund is there and they're expanding. The FCA is there, they're expanding and innovating. And I also think we're a magnet for the unicorns. Only recently we welcomed Go Cardless to Leeds, who are expanding. And alongside Indian businesses like Emphasis and Mastec, I was here a few years ago in India and was privileged to go home with the promise of 1,000 jobs from Emphasis. And this is what the relationship is about, because mayors are the sort of new game in town in the UK. Devolution is on everybody's lips, because that's why the Prime Minister's invited me, because we are able, through devolution, to have the power, the freedoms and flexibilities to support you when you want a soft landing. But also, what's important to business is that talent pipeline. And with my freedoms and flexibilities, my responsibility for the adult education bill, adult education, and also skills, I'm able to provide businesses with talent that is also sticky. We have a very sticky graduate retention. Our 7 universities are world leading. We have the highest number of AI and data analytics postgraduate students at Bradford University, and we have a young and diverse population. So there is a reason why the Prime Minister's invited me, and I think the work that we've been able to do in Leeds and West Yorkshire with the City of London, and having that bridge between us, I think is only going to put the whole of the UK and India on the map. I think it's just such an exciting time, and the size of the prize is incredible. And I think the trade agreement absolutely unlocks the opportunity for Indian business to have access to Europe, but also for our British businesses to also really engage with that fantastic digital and tech expertise that India is world-renowned for.
Thank you, Mayor. If that doesn't motivate you to come to Leeds, then I don't know what will. Thank you for doing that. But I think, how do businesses take that decision when they come to the UK, where to go, or even coming to the UK? What are the options they look at? And what is the success mantra look like? So we got a live case here. We've got Paysecure. Amit, thank you for joining us. So Amit, do you want to talk about your story in terms of, looking at the UK fintech market? What were the decisions that you took or you looked at? What are the factors you were taken into consideration when you decided, let's go to the UK?
So look, I'm a little biased toward London.
You'll get over it. You'll get over it.
It's got great Indian food.
Bradford, I'm just saying. Anybody know Bradford? It's the home of great food.
No, look, as a personally, the choice was from a perspective of where do I want to live and where do I feel comfortable and where do I want to raise my kids and where are they going to be. So that was more of a personal story. But looking from a business perspective, UK is a fantastic place to set up business. The frameworks are well defined, especially from a fintech perspective. It's amazing, the talent pool you get, the understanding you have. So from an Indian business perspective, if I can build the use case or build it a little bit more, look, the business is already there, it's happening. There are lots of use cases. Whether it's remittance to India or reverse remittance from India to UK, it's all happening. There is cross-border marketplace happening. Look, all the industries, if we look, and it's going to happen to the Indian companies, it's going to happen to UK companies, and all of this government interconnection helps growing, boosting it more, is all the companies are going global. And it's creating massive scale. It's creating efficiencies. We can access to the talent pool in both parts of the world or all the parts of the world. But if you look at from other perspective, payments are going in other direction. They are more and more fragmented. More and more innovation happens, so more fragmentation happens. The regulators want it to be regional. They don't want global networks for some reasons, and it helps the ecosystem. So if I can build the use case for from that perspective, from UK to India, look, everybody should have talent hubs here. There's great talent here from technology perspective. There is a well-defined ecosystem of fintech talent. But not only, if I look at from the scale perspective, and coming back to that point, probably Indian fintech market is 10 times the size of UK. But if you look from a investment perspective, and you can attribute a little bit it to cost of living and cost of talent and all the good reasons to be here. The investment that has gone into Indian ecosystem is is um, is is 5 times less. So you are able to achieve more with your dollar value coming from UK to India, establishing businesses here. And the scale you get, it's massive, it's amazing. And I think after US, this is the only market where there's massive scale. People are family, they think in a similar way, more or less. They speak different languages.
Yeah, we speak
north,
English. Yeah, yeah.
there's south and thanks to you guys.
Yeah, there's no American businesses in the room.
So it's great from that perspective, and another case for Indian businesses going to UK. Look, not only it's also a growing market. By the way, it's not a stagnant market. You also get a launch pad for going into other markets. And it's a great place to be, to set up a business and access to Europe, access to other Western countries, where you get that scale.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I can sum up.
Thank you, Amit.
If I can just add to what
Sure.
he was saying, I think this is a brilliant example of the whole India-UK corridor that we're talking about. Indian companies going to the UK, apart from the UK business, getting access to other countries from there, like Europe. Likewise, British companies coming into India, like Revolut, we look at building to serve the Indian market, which itself gives scale, but also set up the frontier to the rest of Asia Pacific from here. So it works brilliantly both ways. And on that note, I'll add another aspect of what lubricated our journey as we came into India. We've been joined by the gentleman himself, like the City of London and Mayor yourself from Yorkshire. We have the CEO of the Karnataka Digital Economy Mission who's just joined us. And the state over there has been more than welcoming of Revolut to actually come in, set up operations, and lubricate our processes. So I think even the government and administrative support that British companies are getting when they're coming in here, and from what I hear from you, Indian companies are getting when we go there, I think is a true example of how this India-UK corridor is working. So cheers to that, and hope for many more to come.
Absolutely, Paroma. And just like we have London and Leeds here, we have Mumbai and Bangalore as well all the time, which is amazing. And I was with the ministers, we were at a lunch meeting yesterday with the chief minister, and it was quite interesting to see how he was pushing for Mumbai, while I'm based in Bangalore, so I've got a bit of soft corner, but anyway, that's a different story. But investments coming from the UK to India, a lot of amazing stories, but what better than SK to talk about the TransferWise journey, some big announcements coming from you, and also the fact that if you can throw some light on in the context of the APAC market size or market opportunity, how does India stand? And how does Wise look at the Indian market today?
Thank you for that. So I think I have to agree with Paroma in terms of if you're globally, any company looking to expand, and especially in the payments and cross-border payments world, you can't not be in India, and you can't not be seriously looking at that. For Wise in our journey, so TransferWise to Wise, yes. But early on enough, India was one of the largest corridors, regardless from where people were sending and where our customers were based. India was the top 3 in terms of where the money was going. One thing that I'm personally very proud of is today, and like last year, Wise powered 10% of India's inbound remittances. India is the #1 remittance market in the world. That means money flowing in. And we powered 10% of that. That is our customers globally. And so we've been doing that for many, many years. But 5 years back, we decided that actually we wanted to then serve the customers in the market as well, not just helping them receive money from their family or businesses overseas, but also helping them in their needs, whether that is when they need to send money out or when they want to travel. And so we've been on this journey where we've acquired a couple licenses, and we've slowly launched our products by truly understanding the market, what the need is, where can a company like ours play a role. And what's been very interesting is that Of course, India has done really well in terms of local payments, right? UPI and all of the other tech stacks that exist. But one thing that we saw is despite that, the cross-border experience was not the same. And the journey and the mission that we've been on is how to give that same experience when you want to move money globally. And it's been remarkable how quickly we've been able to achieve that since we've launched our outbound remittance product, as well as a product for small businesses to receive money when they have customers overseas. And what we're in the process of announcing is a travel card for Indians going anywhere globally with the most number of currencies, so you can go anywhere and enjoy kind of the same convenience and ease that you're used to here, but also without the costs. So I do look after the Asia Pacific region, and I can safely say India is our largest opportunity, and that's why I'm here a lot. And people think I do the India business, and that's a very big part of what I do. I wouldn't say it's an easy one, but what has made our journey easy is definitely the UK-India relationship. We've been quite close to the governments. We often work through the high commissions. We work through the FCDO, whether that is building relationships with the regulators, whether it's reg changes that we'd like and having the right support on that. And it's always been something that has lubricated our journey here. Earlier this year, one of the other things that we did, as I've heard some of the others say, we've set up a global hub office here in Hyderabad. Yep. So a different choice for us. We went really deep in understanding what is best for us. In a matter of less than 6 months, we're in a few hundred people already, and I'm pretty confident we're going to be in the thousands sooner than later. And that's not a back office, or that's not just a tech hub. It's a global office that we're setting across all functions to support our teams everywhere. And so it's one of the largest markets. It's a great fintech market in itself. There's a lot of good talent, tech operations and other functions as well. And so, yeah, I mean, you can't not be in India, but I wouldn't take it easy because customers are used to very high standards. And so that's why we think there's a place for us.
I'm sure Sanjeev is going to talk to you afterwards and say, why not Bangalore? So, but that's a different... Yeah. No, I think just such amazing stories on the corridor. But I think the main reason for the session, one of the topics in the session is that, the free trade agreement, also known as the comprehensive economic and trade agreement. For businesses like, for example, Wise and Paroma at Revolut and Paysecure, how do you look at the FTA? In the sense that, it's a very loaded question, but just from the perspective.
Yeah, okay,
so
just getting some basics right. Yeah. This is being recorded, right? Okay, no, I have to calibrate what I think about the FTA based on the level of recording of this conversation.
So can I just quickly say that the FTA as a process, so the FTA was signed in July. The Indian side, it's a very easy process that the cabinet has approved it. And so from the Indian side, the deal is done. From the UK side, we still need to get it ratified by both the House of the Parliament. So that process is ongoing. So we do expect over the next few months that process gets completed, and then the trade deal actually up and running. But even without the trade deal not being up and running, the general perception is a lot of optimism, a lot of positivity, including this delegation of 130 companies who are in Mumbai over the last 2 days. So a lot's happening, but from a business standpoint, how are you looking at this trade deal? Paroma.
Thanks, Chandru. While a lot of effort has gone in over the last 5-6 years to get this set up to the shape it is in, and we're waiting and cautiously optimistic about it getting ratified. But I think at best, what an agreement like this can serve for us as an industry is a catalyst. It can catalyze certain actions, but the actual impact is defined by how industry takes it and what industry does on top of it, using whatever other basic framework or guidelines laid out in the SETA. So out of all the sectors that are covered in the SETA, coming specifically to finance and into fintech, which is more our domain over here, I think the one thing that stands out for me is certain restriction criteria which were there earlier, the proposal to get those lifted. For example, the number of bank branches that can be set up on both sides of the border. I think that's encouraging in terms of the two governments agreeing in principle to lift restrictions from both sides. But what I think would really facilitate action on this is if as industry and policy making bodies, we leverage that to go and even take it further to leverage each other's strengths. What I mean by each other's strengths, the way I see it is the UK brings a very sophisticated and deep capital pool. One. And it is also at the cutting edge of global innovation. And it has the entire open banking API framework. The three things that stand out from the UK side. And what stands out from the India side is this unparalleled digital stack and identity stack and the whole aggregator framework. And second, a lot of mechanisms of scale, unparalleled scale in this particular country. Now, if we can arrive at a way to leverage each other's, what I mean by that is if a UK company, and sometimes, and Chandru and some of you know my story when we were actually building UPI on Revolut, right? That is biggest example of global innovation integrating with Indian digital public infrastructure. And we actually launched that with NPCI yesterday to a lot of fanfare, but it has taken a long time doing. I sometimes felt like a cowboy going out to conquer the Western Front when trying to do this. So given that the SETA lays out some open guidelines, if that can be made easier for future companies, like a British company being able to leverage the tech stack of India's, imagine the power that it can unlock. And vice versa, if the UK allows easier access to capital pools from the UK for Indian companies, I think those would be my top two if I had to pick on areas to double down on to really leverage and unlock potential from what
some
this
action
opened up.
items for us there. Maybe Chris can help us on the capital raising part of it. But SK, how do you look at the FTA?
So one thing I'd add is, so of course, as I mentioned, we've benefited from the UK-India relationships for years. So it didn't need a free trade agreement for that. But of course, this hopefully makes it even stronger and allows a lot more collaboration and facilitates investment. So I'll highlight a few things I'm hoping we can see more of as the partnership deepens. One is talent mobility on both sides. So we have huge hubs in London as well as now in Hyderabad. And we'd love for people to be easily go back and forth. And that's how we think about our global hubs. So that's one thing we'd want to see more of. Number two is from a regulatory alignment. That doesn't mean the same rules must apply, but I think harmonization of certain ways of doing things, what's allowed, what's not, I think that would be great for regulated business like us. I think the third thing, very specific to fintech, but that's the audience today, is that for recognition of the kind of licenses and stature that you have in one market to fuel your growth and entry into the other one, as an example of what we do and the size and scale that we have in UK, if that could help us fast track some of the things that we need to do in India, and vice versa. If there are Indian companies that are really large, licensed, serving a lot of customers, want to do that in the UK, I think to me that is kind of the proof point of free trade agreement. So very excited. I think this is a great moment, but hopefully we'll continue building on that and actually see real benefits for the companies on this corridor.
Thank you. Janine, do you want to quickly comment on from a Innovate finance perspective, what does the FTA mean for you as an organization?
I actually would echo almost all of the points that were given here. And I think bringing the UK view on that, particularly around the talent side, if you look in the United Kingdom, the largest 11 fintechs employ more than 27,000 people. And it actually is the segment within financial services that saw the largest job creation in 2024 as well. So it grew by more than 37%. So there's a huge opportunity here for us to access that and build on that. But also, to your point about learning from one another's ecosystems and how do we drive some of that learning and go forward.
I can see the time's up point here, but I'm going to take moderator's prerogative to just open up for one or two questions, if you don't mind. Any burning questions in the room to the panelists, which will be great. Yes, yes, Sanjeev, do you want to go first? And then gentleman at the back. Yeah, Sanjeev.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chandru, and it's great to see Paroma there and everybody else. Well, first is the fintech is capital in India is Karnataka and Bangalore. So don't miss that out, please. Right? I want to make a point, and Wise will think about Wise now. Wise, we welcome you, open heart. Let me know when you want to have a conversation with me, or I can come down to you. But the point here is about the FTA, Chandru, is that I think the talent mobility is a very important element in the FTA. And if you see the resources that Jenny was talking about of the 27,000, we are 200,000 sources of fintech in Karnataka, Bangalore. And India overall is a big number. How do we shape this talent mobility? And also look at some of the emerging techs which is coming out from the demand side. Are we ready to pick up the trainings and upgrading skills, ensuring that they are able to do this? And if it requires a G2G interaction onto this, I think I would be happy to plug in with some of the initiatives from our own state with respect to the UK. And we have our own GIA framework on which we can operate upon. So that could be one area where we can work together and demonstrate the real capability. Business will come, but I think if the mobility comes and skills comes together, you will find an amazing play of business.
Yeah. Point taken. I think, Mayor, you have a word, I think?
Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant question. And I think there are certain flexibilities in the agreement that are welcome, and businesses are telling me they're welcome. But it's been very interesting that on this trade mission with the Prime Minister, that we have so many representatives from universities, because surely that is the way to do it. And I do believe that York University, for example, are setting a campus up here in Mumbai, and there's going to be even more of that relationship, university to university. But also, as I say, devolution is giving mayors the opportunity to understand what your region needs when it comes to skills. So in our growth plan, we have a financial and professional services cluster action plan, and so associated with that is the talent. And I think that's why we're getting that magnetic effect with Leeds, because the talent that starts, for example, in Flutter, then goes on to the Bank of England, then goes on to the Wealth Fund, and people can have a whole career moving through these amazing financial fintech companies. And so, starting as an early entry apprentice maybe, and then going on to really senior roles. So there's a really great magnetic effect, but we also need to move people around the globe as well. I think universities are the key.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I've got my Member of Parliament putting his hand up. Just 30 seconds. Lord Billimore, you want to say anything? Quick one, sorry.
Firstly, Chandru, thank you for chairing this panel so fantastically. The point I want to make is this. We've signed this free trade agreement after 3.5 years of negotiation. This is just the start. This is going to be a platform to build on. And what's brilliant about these businesses over here, and I know your chairman, and we've got Monza over here, I've got friends of mine who are unicorn founders. These businesses have started from nothing, and in 5 years, 10 years, are just rocketing. In the UK, which is a tiny market of just 70 million people, and here 1.4 billion people. And the partnership potential in this field is more powerful than anything, especially with AI coming along, let alone quantum in 5 years' time. So here's the partnership. The UK, London, and the North, financial center of the world, top two always, always. Fintech, number one. Green finance, number one. UK partnering with India, the land of the cleverest people in the world, is unbeatable. Thank you.
No better way to end this panel. Please give it up for all my wonderful panelists. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Heartfelt thanks.
If I can add to your point, sir. Look, with the trade pollinating and going from here, there, over there, there's a big barrier, which is understanding of cultural orientation. India is a totally different place. UK is a different, there is a huge diaspora, but there is still a lot of cross-pollination needed. And we see it in our teams also. Although we are same company, we have a bunch of people in India, not in Bangalore. But the way the people think in UK, they need to understand from that perspective. And likewise, from the other side. So the mobility of people is very important, movement of people spending time from here to there and there to here. It's absolutely important.
Thank you. Thank you so much.